WIDR Kalamazoo.
This is Live, Loud, and Local, taking listeners inside the best live shows in Kalamazoo and beyond. This is 89.1 WIDR FM. You can listen live on widrfm.org or on the WIDR app. Hello, listeners. This is Karen again. This is episode 9 of Live, Loud, and Local. This has been going on for a while. A little update about concert-wise. I didn't end up going to No Vacation last week. I mentioned that on my show last week, that I was going to a show last weekend. But my partner ended up being sick. So I tried giving them away. If you want tickets to things, I will post it on the Live Loud Local Instagram. So that y'all missed it. Y'all missed it. No one took my tickets. But yes, so I didn't end up going to that show last week, and I haven't been to any shows since recording last week. But I have a show coming up in a few weeks I have tickets to, maybe a house show in the mix. But enough of that. I want to introduce our guest for this week. So we have Andre from Dres and Friends. They're rocky, they're grungy, they're like so Midwest emo. Hi, Andre.
Hello. Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm drinking a nice cup of water that I had to walk a quarter mile for, but I'm not complaining.
Hey, it's got ice in it at least. You're getting like the star treatment.
The ASMR in there.
So yeah, do you want to tell me about Dres and Friends?
Yes. So Dres and Friends, right? So I started out Dres and Friends. Like it was a really long process of starting it out, right? So what it was is that over time I accumulated all these songs in my catalog, and like I wanted to bring them to life. So actually around this time last year, it's almost over a year now.
Nice.
I got together some of my like housemates that I lived with last year. Andrew Thies, shout out Andrew. Haley Steinkamp, who runs the Void, the Zoo, and Griff Paws, who also is
Man, I didn't know you lived with all those people. I know like half of them people.
Well, Griff, I didn't live with Griff. He was just around, and like we were always hanging out. So I asked him to be on this project, and so it was us, and then Tristan McTorres, who's on the first edition of Dres and Friends on saxophone, and I told him, I was like, I got some songs I want to bring to life. We got a show coming up at our house. I think it's great if we just do this. So it was home territory already. And it was like, why not? So I gathered all the songs I wanted to. I made sure to construct them enough to make them like more cohesive to everybody, to help them understand what I really want to put out. And so that's how Dres and Friends really started, was that like I just had a bunch of like catalog or like songs deep in like my like notes or like wherever I like could store them, and then just brought like things to life that I would like to have to life, and then it just carried on.
Nice. That seems like that's a really big trend recently, at least with some of the bands that I'm bringing on here, is that there's like one main person, and it's like, this is my project, and y'all are just helping me out with it.
Yeah, no, there seems to be a lot of that in the Kalamazoo scene, because like, you know, a lot of people got like with some of their own stuff in store, and like sometimes it's like more than a 2-person effort, which is really nice, because like I've seen a lot of bands such as After Midnight do a lot of like stuff like that. We'll be talking about them later. Yeah. So, but yeah, carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean
no, that is okay. This show is all about you. You can talk about whatever you want on this show.
Okay.
Okay. So then, tell me. So you said that you had a show at your house. Do you live at a venue house?
I used to. So I used to live at Glow House.
Oh, you used to live at Glow House.
Yeah.
I've been there half a dozen times. Nice.
Glow House is no longer a thing, unfortunately. The house is empty, and it's sad.
Is it really empty?
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad every time I pass it.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So literally like no one else lives there anymore?
No, nobody's lived there since we've lived there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on over there.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's wrong with that house. But, I mean,
as vine houses usually are.
The rent is pretty good though. It's split between 5-6 people.
Yeah, you can't beat some of those rent prices there.
No, but it's just so like the house was just kind of old, and you know, I mean, like it was
rickety, falling apart, things aren't working.
Right, but it was still nice because there's a lot of space. I mean, the basement's kind of like crowded, you know, like you have the duck and there's a lot of spider webs and cobwebs, but still, I mean, like it was a good experience.
Yeah, true. And that's of any basement in the Vine. That's definitely not like Glow House specific.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about that a little bit. I didn't realize that you lived at the Glow House.
Yeah.
And I assume like you had shows there when you lived there, right?
We did, yeah.
Tell me about running a house like that.
Well, It can get pretty stressful pretty fast.
I bet.
It can also get really slow really fast. I don't know. So let me to elaborate. So the first ever show that we put on when I moved in there, I was like, I want to play, So that wasn't even Dres and Friends. That was in the fall of 2022.
Gotcha. So that was just Dres.
Yeah, that was just me.
Okay.
And I just did a guitar slot and piano slot, and it was just some songs that I had. It was some of Dres and Friends songs actually I played.
Gotcha.
And before they were even
before Dres and Friends was
before it was
accumulated.
Thing.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, it's a fast-paced environment. And you got to be on your toes when you're at, hosting a show, because for one, it's your own property, and
it's your house.
you have to keep watch about what people are doing, and you really pay attention to detail. And it's like Jack Harlow said, there's beauty in the details. So I'll try my best to pay attention to them. Spend your day with this, it'll get you through it. But that song's from River Road, if anybody's wondering, off of Confetti in 2019. I love Jack Harlow. But anyway, so it was just a lot of things going on, and at first, it's just this rush of sonic things, sounds, and a bunch of people, a bunch of socialization, a bunch of stimulation. And
I bet
that's where it comes in that you can get really overstimulated, especially with external things going on. I had a lot of things going on externally that I didn't take care of when I was overstimulated.
Gotcha.
And some things outside of that some of them weren't in my control, some of them were. And that was really difficult to navigate, because there was a lot of hardships through some relationships or some friendships, and it takes a toll on you, because you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to keep the house clean. You got to stay organized with all the bookings, and what was nice about it though is that we delegated the bookings towards everybody. We had everybody,
everyone in the house.
Yeah, we had everybody book their own show and be hey, what do you want to do? I'm I want this band, I want that band, and us, and then
that definitely would take the pressure off, where you're only doing a fourth or a fifth of the shows there.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be on anybody's sort of shoulders all the time. And when you would have it on your shoulders, it'd be all right, this is the expectation of going in here. You're gonna talk to the bands and make sure to communicate efficiently, and see what equipment there is, and what other accommodations need to be met, and keeping an eye on everybody, and just really just owning your space. And then at the end of the show, you get the time to relax and really just wind down, because it's
everything's taken care of at this point. No one's being stupid.
Yeah, and then there's problems when people are stupid, and then you have to redirect them. So I'll give you an example. One time, I was running my own show. This was actually the first Dres and Friends show, believe it or not.
Okay.
This guy, I don't know who he is, but this guy came in and okay, here it goes. So I was chatting with this girl, and she asked me for my phone number. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll give you my phone number. And then not even 5 seconds later, the guy comes to me. He's like, dude, you think I could get her phone number from you? I was too afraid to ask. I look at him.
Oh my goodness,
cold in the face. 5 seconds. I'm like, does anybody have any more beer?
Yeah, okay, this is we got to deal with this guy. This is
And he started yelling at me, and then I was like, whatever. And then not even 10 minutes later, he tries to steal some beer from us, and we caught him, and we were like, get out.
Goodness. See, and I assume he wasn't a regular at house shows or anything. This is just a random guy. You think he was?
I don't know. I don't know his name. I know what he looks like, but
I've never seen him before. And so listeners, this is your PSA to treat the houses nicely, because you are literally sitting in their living room.
Don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk.
Please.
That really is the number one rule of house shows is if you're not going to do it in your own house,
then don't do it in somebody else's house.
Don't do it in somebody else's.
See,
let someone that lives there know if there's no more toilet paper in the bathroom, bare basic, don't I don't know, spill beer everywhere.
That's the least of our problems, honestly.
Really?
Spilling beer. There's a lot more that goes into it, but I don't want to get into that because it's kind of a waste of time.
Gotcha. But yeah, a lot of problems that come with it. Do you have a favorite show that you put on at your house?
Yes. I really liked the first Dres and Friends show.
Okay. So who's on the bill?
It was Dres and Friends, Pointless Painters Club. You ever heard of them? Mushroom Jam.
Nice.
Griff Paws was there. And then Six Witch. That was the old project I was in.
Gotcha.
Six Witch. And Yeah, that was an interesting project for sure. John Young was in there with me.
Oh, nice.
John Young and Michael Van Dorp.
Okay.
I'm saying his name right? Yeah, Van Dorp.
Yeah, something along the lines
Michael
of that.
Van Dorp, me, and John Young were in that project.
Nice.
And like that was one of like the first like full bands I formed in like Kalamazoo, kind of, because we wanted to play some stuff like we all liked, and then it just grew apart.
Yeah, and I feel like that's how kind of a lot of bands and kind of shows in Kalamazoo. It's like they're there for a little bit, and of course you have like your staples that kind of stick around for a while.
Yeah.
But you have like your houses that are there for a season, or your bands that are there for a season, and then someone moves away, or someone doesn't want to be in the band anymore.
Right.
And like,
yeah, just life gets in the way.
Yeah. So I think that's a really like normal part of kind of house show scene.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Let's see. There's a venue that we're in the garage.
Oh, the Runoff?
The Runoff.
Yeah.
Like that's a staple that's been there forever.
This has been a long time. They had a really good following and a really good build up, and the guys really like take care of all the bands that are there. Like Garrett, I forgot his last name, but Garrett is such an awesome guy. He runs the Runoff. He's also in Bronson Arm with Blake Bickle. Shout out them. Yeah, shout out Bronson Arm. They're great. They make really good records. I really like what they make, and like Garrett does a really good job at running the Runoff.
Yeah, even just like as like a person that goes to shows, they like really have it like tight knit, and like it's in the garage, which I think really really helps the sanity of the house too.
Yeah, because it's separate from where you're sleeping, living, and then it's like a space where it's like, oh, I have enough space to like have this as an extra thing. There's
like concrete floor, so if something happens, it's fine.
Yeah.
The garage door opens, so you just spray it with water and it's out. Like it's really, really easy. And I've had many mosh pits there that have been just killer and A+, and that's really one of my favorite venues. But then you have something like the Glow House, which is only there for like a few shows, and then kind of like falls apart because people just don't live in that house anymore.
No, and it just comes with all like the things in the scene too, and it's like life happens, and like because we didn't want to like re-sign, everybody wanted to move out. Yeah, so that was a little bit hard, definitely at first with everything that was going on. I by the end of living in Glow House, my mental state was a tornado.
Yeah, and you're like, it's time to leave.
Yeah. And I didn't want to say goodbye at first because there was a lot of things that I experienced in that house, Yeah. And like, you can't hold on to it though, because it was meant to happen, and like it's happened, and now, everything's completely different a year later now.
Yeah, exactly.
In a good way. And sometimes it just, you have to say it is what it is, and it's out of my control.
Yeah. And that is really like sometimes it is what it is. Like, Nothing New was a band that I used to go and see a lot.
Yeah.
And I know that they were a thing, and then they kind of were in like a hiatus, and then they came back, and now I don't think they're a thing anymore.
I don't think they're a thing anymore, maybe.
But like they were definitely like they were really fun while they were here, and like sometimes it just falls off, and like I love them as a band, but like what am I gonna do as a fan? Make them come back?
Yeah, no.
It's just like it is what it is, and it's so listeners, get out to a show while you can if there's anybody that you want to see. It's not guaranteed that they're going to be there for a long time. Get to a show while you can. Get to a house while you can.
Yeah, get to a house.
Get to a show. Get to a house too, because each house really runs things differently too.
Yeah. A lot. Like there's new venues too, like Club Sandwich.
I've heard of Club Sandwich. I haven't been there yet.
It's well, I shouldn't say the address on the radio
DM
station.
the Instagram if you want the address of the house.
Yeah, DM. But
have you played there?
No.
You've just been there?
Yeah, I've been there. I went to the Cage Lotus Christmas party that they had.
Nice.
That was really cool. Helix played. Danny Rader was there. He was playing too. Who else played that night? Taxi Cab, and I forgot who was. There's a bunch of people there. A bunch of the people in the Cage Lotus scene, and like they were all there, and they put on a really good show, and like it's really tight knit of people. Why can I not say this right now? A tight group of people that are knit well together, and like they are like a collective, and they make some sort of similar music, but it's like obviously different when you look at each one of them individually, and like they got live bands for each other now, and like that's what's really makes it really cool, is like the live band aspect of turning like their stuff that they produce on like a DAW, and then like turn it into like a real life band, and it sounds so crisp. Like I love what Taxi Cab did, like his drums sound really good, and like all of his stuff. Everybody in Helix and Danny's stuff, and like everybody who's played as a Caged Lotus like collective, like their stuff, their backing band sounds really good. Had been Henny's backing band, Henny himself, and like shout out everybody who I just mentioned, and like it's great. And I got involved with Caged Lotus a little bit, just working with some of the guys over there, and like it's been really nice to like kind of immerse myself in that environment.
That's sick.
See what's going on. But I mean, I like to do my own stuff though, because it's like, throughout this year, there's been a point of where like sometimes I set a lot of expectations and it's not good, because it's like if I set all these expectations and I go there and like I don't get those expectations, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like I don't have any expectations walking into anywhere except for myself, and then I'm just gonna go with what it is and then see what happens.
You just do what you do, and like you kind of know what you got in your back pocket.
Because that's the best thing to do. It's like you don't have to stress about anything. And like that's what I realized too, is that I was stressing myself out because of all these expectations and like feeling like I was a failure because I didn't meet those certain expectations. But it's like, you can't rush it.
Yeah, it's like actually it's okay that I just played a show. It was chill. Like it's sometimes that's all it's got to be. It's just like
and
it happened.
On to the next.
Yeah,
really.
On to the next thing.
Yeah.
So then kind of tell me about this Dres and Friends album that you had put out.
So it started when I like had all these, like we were playing for 2 months. So
short time.
Yeah. So because I had everything like ready to go, and like the first month was like the original group. I said Griff, Haley, Tristan, and Andrew. And then the second group was Mushroom Jam. It was Austin, Chase, and Parker from Mushroom Jam at Backrooms.
Okay.
So, we played at February, like last year.
The Backrooms.
Yeah, I missed the Backrooms.
I missed the Backrooms.
Shout out Fluke, man. But like, yeah, I missed the Backrooms. And so I played like 2 Dres and Friends like sets within that that span of time. And then I got everybody together, and I was like, okay, what do we want to do? And Tristan was like, hey, like I have this like project that I need to do. I was wondering if you would like want to do it for me. I was like, what does it entail? He's like, well, I would want to like record all of your stuff and like do it. I was like, yeah, are you kidding me?
You're like, you're asking me to play so you can produce it? Yeah, let's like, easy
money. And so that happened. So I didn't like I went to him I believe first. Yeah, so this was almost a year ago now. So in March of 2023, we started at WSS, and it was a bunch of 2-track recordings. It was me and Griff. Griff was playing drums, I was on guitar tracks, and then there was like 3 days of those first sessions, and then I went to LA. I went to LA to do some other demos at this place called Lowanica Studios. It's in downtown LA. Nice. And it's really nice over there. It's in the Flower District. So you go into the Flower District, right? And there's this little alleyway that you can go up to, staircase, and it's like this door. It's like a garage, like a spare garage, and you go up the staircase and then go right, left, and right. Then you're in the studio, and it's kind of like what we're sitting in right now, but the wall is filled with guitars and like basses and like everything really.
Nice.
And like every single pedal you could imagine, and like a really nice grand piano, drum set, and like a vocal booth too.
Nice.
And like, so what I did there, I did 2 versions of things. So I started with Lemon Haze and Unlace Shoe, and I did some take blending on those because of those 2 different sessions. Like I took different takes from WSS and Lowanica.
Okay.
And like it's noticeable on the album, but I don't know if anybody's noticed yet. Yeah. Because I've had to tell them.
Yeah, true. It's like know it because you've spent so much time on it type of situation where someone who this is the first time they've listened to it probably wouldn't. Yeah.
And the people at Lowanica were great. I really enjoyed my time there. Like Tim Horner, he's my producer. Ace Williams was a photographer and also the assistant producer. And then Evan Taylor, who was the main guy who ran the label. He's great. So yeah, shout out to them, man. They're really great. And I really like the way they kind of like had the ball rolling on things. Like Tim, like the guy who was like, engineering my stuff for the whole sessions, he was so patient and like just so like, all right, let's let me like work. Like I wanted to see what you do.
Nice.
And so he just let me kind of take the throttle and just was like, all right, I want to do this, I want to do that. And he's like, okay. And sometimes he gives some input, like, what about this?
Yeah.
And then I have my homie Chinmaya, who I met 4 years ago before that in LA.
Nice.
Like I just met him randomly, and like I hung out with him and his friends. It was me, Arnav, Chinmaya, and Ojun, the OG LA homies. And so like 4 years later, I was like in LA, I was like, Chinmaya, you should come to the studio. And like he came to the studio, he laid some background vocals on one track, and I spent the whole day with him, and it was just so nice because like I got some pair of fresh ears to come in and listen and like give me a kind of like a third person view of like what I'm doing. So that was the 2 sessions, like first WSS session and the Lowanica session, and I came back and then did a 3rd session at WSS, which is a bunch of mixing and mastering and like overdubbing and stuff like that. And we would stay up till like 5, 6, 7 in the morning.
Rock and roll, baby.
No, for real, because like it would just be like sitting there for a long period of time, and I'm like, I like this because I'm really putting all my energy into something, and like I don't want to be like distracted, and like sometimes I would get distracted by things, and like at the time I didn't know they weren't good for me, but like that goes with life. I mean, you have to figure it out. But anyways, it's like it was just nice to like sit there and like really absorb like what's being put into this, and like really like take notes. Like I would time dock it too. I'd write down in a journal and be like, all right, at this specific time this is what happened, and like this is where we're going with it. Or just kind of write randomly, like, someone just said a funny joke, remember that, But that's what the whole experience was like. And then going back and listening to like the files and like just kind of overdubbing. So I did some overdubbing after that too with some bass, because there were some tracks that I wanted bass on and I didn't put bass on in the studio.
Gotcha.
And then and then the record was released June 9th, 2023. It was the same day we did the Bells show. At the Bells album release show. That was me, Dres and Friends was there, and then Witch's Wedding played, and then Basement Window played.
Nice.
And that was the show.
Yeah, Bells is also such an underrated place for people to play at this point, because they have like their big ones. Like I went and I saw like Joe Hurtley and the Rainbow Seekers, and I've seen like a few like bigger bands there, but they also have like the really tiny guys. I'm going to the Saturday show at Bells.
Oh, with Headband Henny and I heard that's sold out already.
Yeah, sold out already, and they're still like 3 weeks until the show. And
shout out those guys, man. Shout out Headband Henny, man. Shout out Mitch, Gabe, and Esden of Saturdays, and whoever else is playing with y'all, man. I don't even know who the rest of those people are, but shout out Henny, Noah, Pib, Adam, Fluke. I love you, Fluke. But like,
no, but even just like places like that there's such an underrated, like, it's like a step up from a house show. It's a step up from Papa Pete's, Yeah,
no, Papa Pete's is a great venue too. Shout out Jeff. Have you heard of Jeff Fest before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, Jeff Fest was so cool. I'm so glad I went to Jeff Fest this year.
Nice.
It was good.
Yeah,
time.
I couldn't make it to Jeff Fest, but it's been a while since I've actually been to Papa Pete's. But there was a time that I was going like once a week, probably.
Yeah, it's one of those places.
It really is one of those places. And it's like you walk in and it's like the weirdest thing you've ever experienced. But then like the venue is just great. Yeah. Because like normally it's not like a young person bar.
No, it's like an in-between crowd. It's like you get people in like early mid-20s and then like all the way up to like 40s.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes a person with gray hair too.
Yeah, some like older.
And I'm just like, okay.
Right,
I guess. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to rewind a little bit.
Okay.
So how did you find out about this this recording studio in LA? Do you have like connections to LA?
So my family, a part of my family lives out there. So my cousin,
gotcha.
He lives in LA, and he's been out there for like, I want to say about like 10 years now.
Okay.
Because he went to school at University of California, Irvine, and then so did my other cousin, but she moved to the east side of the country in New York. And so that's how I knew about stuff in LA. But I was just really just like searching around studios, because I planned like before I went to Lowanica, I planned to visit my cousin already. Shout out Izzy, dude. But like Izzy, if you're listening to this, man, JoJo was a man. But anyway, so like I reached out to Izzy about like just wanting to hang out and see him and visit. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Plan it out. And then I was like, you know what? I might as well look at a studio, see what the rates are.
Why not?
So I found Lowanica, and I just messaged them. They followed me back, and they're like, dude, like, yeah, you should come like record. Like, yeah. Like,
yeah, okay. On the list.
It was 20 minutes from my cousin's house too. It wasn't even that far.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't that far.
And man, LA time too.
I know. I was like, wow.
You're like, this is fate. Like
it was. It really was. And like I just was like, all right, gonna do it. And like, yeah. I really liked it.
So did you just like find him on Instagram?
Sort of. I did my research online.
Gotcha.
And like looked up studios based in LA. I did a little bit of research, and I looked at Lowanica. I was like, okay. I kind of just read about like what they do, and they've worked with artists such as like Bernie Worrell.
Nice.
If that's how you say it, Bernie Worrell, and a bunch of other like jazz artists and like all around people, and like definitely a lot of artists from LA because it's LA based. So it's like, yeah, they have a big like plethora of people that they work with.
That's so super cool.
Yeah.
Even just like how, wow, because there's the one that's like on what street is that on? It's over in Kalamazoo. There's
I know.
there's
La
like
Luna.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was
La
like, there's
Luna?
the yoga studio there. There's like a few tattoo artists over there, but that's about the only one that I know of.
Yeah, La Luna is great. I've never been there, but I've heard lots of things about that. Sam Peters, I've heard a lot of good things about him too. I've never had any records mixed or mastered by him, but everybody who's had work mixed or mastered by him that I've heard, it sounds really great.
But I think, because I mean, the people that I've kind of brought on the show, it's either been like their friend in the basement or there.
Yeah.
So really, like Kalamazoo based, I thought those were like the places to go. But even this studio in LA, I think that's so cool that you're bringing in like a multi-state feel to it.
You know, and like that's the thing. You know, a lot of people feel like they're limited to what they're surrounded by, but it's like you're not. I mean, you're not, and like, you know, pushing the envelope just doesn't mean like genre-wise. It could mean geographically, or like
true,
spiritually, or whatever it may be in oneself. But like, I don't know. It's nice to like go all over the place and not be limited to one space, and like knowing when to like exit somewhere and when to be in somewhere. You know, and like you get better at that at time. And like, it's definitely like a life lesson throughout like the people that you get introduced to in your life. You know, and like yeah, you know, just not pushing in the envelope. How do I say this in a more like cohesive manner? Like, just like not having limits, I guess. Getting really down to it and just being like, okay, I can do this. It's gonna take time, but I can do this. And like, as long as I'm determined enough and believe it enough to really want to do it, then that's all that matters.
True. Sometimes it's just like talking to people and asking really nicely, and people think you're cool, and they're like, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah.
Like sometimes that's really all it takes with stuff like that.
And it's not good. Sometimes it's not good to force things either. You know, that's a lot. That's one thing that you learn through the house scene of being a musician, is that like you have to like give people their time and like, respect their time, and like so that's what's been going on too. Like for like the year, like. How do I say this? A year ago, like now, compared to a year ago to now, you know, it's like I've noticed that, like, you know, when you get people's attention, like you really want to like not save their time, but like be wise of their time, and vice versa. Like I want people to be, you know, wise with my time, and like I'm like communicating that. It's like if I'm making time for this, then it's like I want to like have something there. I don't want to just waste time. Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Like just sitting around twiddling our thumbs? Like we don't need to be doing that.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
But even like listeners, even like kind of when it comes to this show, like I've reached out to a handful of bands. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, I want you on. And we were talking about this before we got recording, but even like the band I had on last week.
Yeah. Who were they?
They were, let me see. Let me pull up the name. Okay. First Aid Spray. They were just like a bunch of guys, and like they reached out to me, and we had a blast on the show.
Okay.
And I didn't even reach out to them, but I'm trying to reach out to people, and I'm like, hey, are you interested? And then there's all this la 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 la. We're all wasting each other's time. Where I mean, I want to get people in the studio like you. Like I want to just get you in the studio. It was so easy to get you in.
Yeah. I was like
you were just. Go. I was like, you want to be on? You're like, yeah. Yeah. Easy. Like, let's set up time. Like it was really really easy. And there's a level of I want some of these bands. I'm really really excited to have some of these bands, but some of them take a lot more effort. Yeah. And definitely. And it's like you got to respect their time, but it's like, okay, like what's the hold up here? We're messaging. Right. Let's just get you on. You know. Yeah.
Don't waste time, man.
Don't waste this time. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit. Okay. So
looks like the lights.
Okay, pause. We're the lights turned off again.
The lights said, "All right then." Oh, yeah, they're definitely switching gears. Wow, that's fun.
Okay, we're back, listeners.
We're back.
So tell me a little bit about your relationship with It's After Midnight.
It's just after midnight.
It's just after midnight?
Yeah, that's their Instagram handle. Like, just to confirm, it is after midnight.
Gotcha.
But so I met them a long time ago now, almost a year ago now, because they played at Glow House, and I really liked their sound. They were really like, at the time, they really reminded me of like a heavier version of the Strokes. It's probably because I was listening to the Strokes a lot. I still do, but now it's completely different because like I've shared a space with them and done shows with them. It's like, oh my god, like they're definitely a Metallica influenced band, and like they have a bunch of other inspirations too, but I definitely hear Metallica and a lot of other stuff like that. But what kind of like sparked our coming together thing was that like, so I like just talked to them here and there, and like they were like, yeah, like we should get a show set up. I was like, yeah, we should. And then I was like, oh, I don't have time, and like I don't know how to do this. And so finally I was like playing Diwali, the Hindi New Year last year at here in this this building, and so I asked them to play because like all the usual Dres and Friends members were really busy, and so I was like, hey, do you guys want to play like a last minute set? And they killed it. Did they? Yeah, they killed it. Like so it was a 3-piece at first. It was me, Dakota, and Brian. Okay. And Dakota's on bass, Brian's the drummer. And so like it was us as a 3-piece, and like they came together real nice, and just like they jumped on it. They hopped on it. And I was like, so you guys want to play like a little bit more shows together? They're like, yeah. And so we played shows together for about 2 months. And the last one we played was at Sky High. Nice. And that was like the last Dres and Friends show. Yeah, that was the last Dres and Friends show I played this year. And no, they're great. Dave, Brian, Elliot, Coda. Shout out Rem too. Shout out Aid. Oh my god. Shout out the whole After Midnight House, dude. Czar. Like, oh my god. They're great. They're really tight-knit group of people. And like they take care of each other. And like Elliot, most recently, he actually broke his hand. I don't know if you know that. Yes, I saw that on maybe it was their Instagram. Yeah, maybe it was... and he's playing guitar with Coda. Yeah, no, I love Elliot for that because like he's so determined to just play, even though he's like his wrist is messed up. His wrist is literally broken. Yeah, and it's just great. Like they got the passion for it, so that's what really like kind of like ignited our relationship with like music stuff like that too, because we were both into it, and like we both were like, yeah, this is great. You're like, this collaboration is like perfect, and it just fell into our laps, right? And right now we're kind of on a break because they're a little bit busy and stuff, and they just signed to Midwest Gold Records too. Nice. So yeah, shout out to them for real. And like they said they would want to play again, but it's just finding time. Yeah, it's just that they're in the midst of stuff, and they gotta like do some things, but then they're gonna be back on it. Yeah, they definitely will. But then yeah, that's how I pretty much know them. Nice. After Midnight, they're a cool group of guys. Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah. So then what new projects are you working on right now? Well, there's one called Forklift. Yeah, tell me about this. So that's me and Andrew Thies, who is also in the first version of Dres and Friends, and he's also been in Basement Window. He's played an assortment of things. He's actually in Color, if you know them. No, I don't know. I know the other two bands. I don't know In Color, though. In Color's a newer band, too. That's my friend AJ. Shout out AJ. So it's AJ and Andrew, and then Parker and Chase from Mushroom Jam. So nice. That's them four. That's AJ's project, In Color. And so they played at Animal Farm last time. And now Forklift, we're going to play at Animal Farm with Means of Entry and Medieval Society. Medieval Society is Zeb's band, Zebul Farkas. He's a cool guy. He runs Animal Farm. Nice. And that's his own band. And then Means of Entry, those are my homies, Connor, Audrey, Liam, and Gage. Yeah, I almost said another band member's name, but he's not in there anymore. But so yeah, they're all the homies. They're going to be playing. They're great. Everybody's great. And like Forklift, yeah, to get to the point, Forklift is like, it's all over the place still, because it's like, we just started, but me and Andrew have been friends for a very long time. Like we've been friends for about like 4 or 5 years now. Nice. And like he was one of the first people like I met musically in Kalamazoo, and like we started like making music together, and like wonderful to get that back together. I know I missed doing stuff with him like that, and every time I go into like something with him like that, it's just nice. And like sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's difficult, but it always feels nice to like put that effort in, and like To be honest with you, I can't really describe what forklift is because I kind of want to keep it a secret.
Okay, that's so fun.
I also kind of want to just like figure it out a little bit more.
Gotcha. So it's like still in the works, still trying to figure out kind of actually like what's going on.
Yeah, but everybody will see everything at Animal Farm on Friday, February 23rd at 7 p.m.
Yeah, this is gonna be a killer show. This will be super, super fun.
Yeah, I'm stoked to play at Animal Farm. The last show I went to at Animal Farm, it was after midnight Medieval Society. And then In Color played there too, and I forgot the other band, but there was a really good crowd. You know, it wasn't the usual crowd of people that were at a house show.
Oh, really?
It was a bunch of different people I'd never seen before.
Nice.
And the basement's huge.
Oh, yeah. Is it still in the Vine?
Relatively.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can't say the exact address.
Yeah, but it's relatively in the Vine.
Yeah, it's relatively there, and yeah, it's a great setup. It's a big space. There's a lot of room to move around.
That's super, super cool.
Last time I was there, so in my coat right now, I have a slide, like a slide for the guitar. Yeah. So I always keep it on me. And so I was walking in, and there's this room at Animal Farm where everybody puts their equipment. Mm-hmm. So I was walking by that room, and I saw this guy with a glass slide. So I walk up to him, I was like, "Homie," and I show him my slide. He's like, "Oh my gosh." And I was like, "Dude, you gotta play." I was like, "Sure." And then we just started like trading riffs back and forth, and it was great.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I like the synchronicities of this and like the serendipities of the music scene here and everything in life, I guess. The serendipities of life.
And something that I kind of really want to emphasize for everyone listening, and going back to like mentioning like California and everything that you have going on there. Kalamazoo, yes, there is such a tight knit here, but it's kind of a reminder that you can find a tight knit like this anywhere. Yeah. It might not be as plentiful as it is in Kalamazoo, because Kalamazoo is really like the only place where I've found something to like this massive size. Yeah. But even like WIDR being so super involved with it, and like really the community, and you really recognize like same faces, same bands that coming through. But like you can kind of find a community like this anywhere. Like,
it's obviously not gonna be the same.
It's not gonna be the same, and everybody will have their quirks. Like you have even like Ann Arbor, you kind of have the everything going on with like Blind Pig and stuff that they have going on over there, or like Grand Rapids in the Treehouse. Yeah. Like you got it kind of everywhere, but it just takes a little bit of looking.
Yeah, it does. But once you're there, like it's like okay, and like Kalamazoo's definitely like been worth it, but like any music scene, you're gonna go through some hardships and like stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. We're all people, and everyone like we're all friends, and friends have drama, and like there's of course gonna be all of that. Yeah. But like overall in it, it's a really cool community to just kind of get involved in.
It is. I would say that for sure.
So one thing else that I want to talk about is I want to talk a little bit about your songwriting process.
Okay. Oh yeah. I was like, what about it? Well, I mean, it doesn't have an exact blueprint. There's no exact blueprint.
Do you usually like start with the music side? Do you start with the lyrics side?
It just depends on like how I'm feeling.
So it really is like different every single time.
Yeah, and like that's how I like to do it. I mean, because if I kept it the same routine, like I've said in a past interview, I actually mentioned this in the Void Zoo interview with Haley. I did. It's like if I did the same thing routine after routine, I would go crazy. Okay. It's like if I don't know, like if I just like had a routine of like, oh, this is how I'm gonna write a song, it would just be so boring. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, okay, like you're probably gonna get the same outcome. Yeah, you're like, okay,
you're gonna get the same variation, like 5 variations of the same song.
See, exactly, and then that's like, well, you got to take a different approach because it's like, okay. I mean, I like to take a different approach because like, I don't know, I could just literally write about like anything I want to at the moment. Like, I don't know. Let's say if I pick up this green pen I'm holding, this green Expo marker, right? And I see the words dry erase. I could like put together like some sort of like what's that word, stanza? Like some stanzas? Yeah, something
like lines or
some lyrics.
Something along the lines of that.
So like if I say like I have a marker that's a dry erase, and like my friend Parker, he had a drier face. I don't know. Yeah. Like something like that. Or just like anything off the dome that like makes sense. And like sometimes it's gonna be like absolute like crap. And like that's what's great about it, is that you recognize that it's crap and it's like, oh, I could do better. Yeah. Or I could just like forget about that and start over. That
really is like the kind of the best part about like, it's putting in like your 10,000 hours type of deal, where kind it's like you're like you're
actually yes.
Yeah, you're like putting in all this stuff and it's crap and it's really bad, and but you have to like really get out the bad stuff first before you really hit gold. And once you hit gold, you're like, that's it. That's
it. And like, it's like I take a lot of inspiration from the Beatles too. And so like John and Paul, like John Lennon's philosophy on songwriting is that if you have a thought, you write down everything until like you can't think about it anymore.
Gotcha.
Like you finish it, you know, finish it right when you started it.
Nice.
And then like let it go, let it simmer, and then come back to it.
Okay.
And that's like one of the things I'd like to do too.
Nice.
Is like let it simmer and then come back to it at a later day if I'm like searching through something. Maybe if I have it, because I have like thousands of notes that just have random lyrics or like random sayings. Or,
really?
Like, things that I've thought of at the time.
Okay.
And some of them have turned into like songs, or some of them can be, you know, and like that's how it is really. And like I don't know, it's good to be different and like not have such a strict approach to it, you know. Because if it's punitive like that, then it's like it just feels boring and repetitive. And it's like, well, I'd be wasting my time and going crazy.
Which is so interesting because every single band I bring on here has a different answer to this. Some people really are like, we write the music first and we're very strict about it. And it goes from this member to this member.
Yeah.
This member adds something. And then we go lyrics. And it's very particular how they do it. But then some are really like, I can't do the same thing twice because then it'll be the same song.
Yeah.
And I think that's, as someone who doesn't write music, I think that's such an interesting way of like, wow, there really is like no right or wrong process into writing a song.
No, yeah, it's all subjective. And like whatever works for someone else will probably not work for somebody else. I don't know, you know, and like some things work for some other people. So it's all like a kind of like putting your name in a hat and drawing it and then being like, oh, okay, maybe this will work or maybe this won't work. But you have to try.
You really got to try. If that's something that like you're wanting to do, listeners, you just really gotta you gotta put your 10,000 hours in. You gotta get out the poop, get out the crap, get out the stuff that is bad and you hate it.
Yeah.
And then you'll really start like getting into the gold.
Yeah. No. Digging for gold, as they say.
So an upcoming show of yours that I want to shout out is on February 23rd at the Animal Farm.
Yeah.
Can they DM you to get the address for that?
Yes, they can DM me and they can DM Zeb. If you want to DM me, listeners, my Instagram is DRES_13. And you could DM the Dres and Friends account, which is just DRES, the letter N, and then FRIENDS. And I'll give you the address.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So then you had a specific song we wanted to shout out this episode.
Oh, yeah. I do want to shout out, there's a couple.
Then I would love for you to shout them all out.
Okay. So I'll start with the Dres and Friends album. I'll start with this one, Laced Shoe. That's the instrumental one. That's the only instrumental one on there. That was a crazy sporadic writing process because Unlaced Shoe was first. Unlaced Shoe was first out of all between Laced Shoe. And so it was just the same exact chord pattern. And then I just turned it into something else. Mm-hmm. And so it was me on drums on there. And then Grayson Barbone, saxophone player. Shout out Grayson. Fluke was on the bass. And Ethan Sissons, he was on guitar. Shout out all those homies, man. And it was just so sporadic because I wanted like a contrast between light and day for those two tracks. Because it's like Unlaced Shoe is completely different from Laced Shoe and vice versa. And
interesting.
Like, I wanted to have that. It just would make sense. Like, what if I have an unlaced shoe? I might as well have a laced shoe. You know?
Yeah.
And then I did stuff like that. And then the whole album, you know, obviously has my whole heart. And like my favorites cycle through each time I go back and listen to it. But they all like, I mean, it's my stuff. I have to be biased about it.
Yeah, of course. It's like you love all of it.
Yeah, I like it. But there's a little snippet I do want to mention. There is a new Dres and Friends single coming out really soon.
Do we have a date?
No.
Okay, so really, really soon. So they have to go follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, they have to follow me on Instagram at DRES_13. What do you know? Or Dres and Friends, like I said, DRES, letter N, FRIENDS. Yes. Okay, so the new single we got coming out. So we shot a music video, or we're shooting a music video right now. The first half we shot at Sky High, and we're still waiting on the second half right now. But I just want to mention that there's going to be a new Dres and Friends single. It is something that is completely different from the sound catalog I have out right now. Interesting. Can you give us any more, like, how is it different? Or do you want to keep that a secret? I think I'm going to keep that a surprise. Hey, that's so understandable. I'm just trying to be nosy. I'm just excited. Fair enough. Yeah, no, everybody wants to know. And I have the power to kind of like,
you get to manipulate the story around it.
I'll keep it a little bit just for now, just for marketing purposes.
Yeah, for marketing purposes, exactly.
People will hear this song eventually. And I'm really excited about it.
Do we get a song title?
Not even
a song title, man. You're really having our listeners on the edge of their seats
not
today.
Not even a song title. They're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, they'll figure it out soon enough. It'll be the next one coming out.
Yeah.
Okay. Pause recording, Ryan. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before I kind of do our outro? Good episode, by the way.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because like we already covered a bunch of like after midnight stuff, and then the distraction and the house stuff. What if we talk about like maybe like another like project? Like I know I said a single, but there might be another project.
Yeah,
like,
I'll ask you about another project. Okay, we are recording again, Ryan. Okay, so you told me that you have another project that's kind of coming up.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so it's about exposure. It's about the truth.
Ooh.
It's about seeing everything for what it is.
Okay.
And that's all I really can say.
That's all you can say. You can't even say if it's a song or if it's a new band or an album.
It's something like that.
Okay. Okay.
But it's exposure. It's exposure. It's good and bad. It's good, bad, and ugly. Clint Eastwood's not going to be in there, but like it's good, bad, and ugly, and it's all out there. It's going to be all out there for everybody to see, and it's like, it's not holding back anything. Well,
I'm interested to see what this ends up being, because now you got me on the edge of my seat in the studio here.
Yeah, there's a lot to be exposed per se, but that's all I can say, I guess.
Interesting. So you can stay up to date on what this exposure is. Following Dres on their Instagram at DresNFriends. You can also find this show on Instagram at Live, Loud, and Local. I'm always reposting venue posters, my favorite artists, and giving updates about this show. The best way to get on this show is by Instagram DM, and until next time, Kalamazoo, remember to bring your earplugs, and as always, tip the touring band. And we're out.
We're out.